Hi everyone! In this video we're going to turn a pattern into a texture brush so that you can have just really good control of where you'd like that pattern placed. And so that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get to it. I have over here a 12-inch by 12-inch canvas at 300 dpi and a seamless tile that's overlaid on top of that canvas. Let's start out by creating a new brush set. So we're going to go all the way up to our brush library here and tap the little plus sign right there. And we're just going to call this custom brushes. And under custom brushes, you want to create a new brush. So we're just going to go ahead and tap that little plus sign right there. Now that we have our brush made, we can tap done. And so we need to have an image for our brush, which is going to be this image. But let's talk about this image for a second. The Brush Studio itself is looking for images in grayscale, so from black to white. And anything that's white is where the color that you use when you're laying it down will show up nice and opaque, solid. Anywhere that's black will be transparent or invisible. And then you have all of those, the range of grays in between. So we really want to turn our color image here into something that is in grayscale. So let's go ahead and do that first. We're going to go over here to our adjustments here, and we're going to select hue, saturation, and brightness. We're going to dial down the saturation, and just to make sure all of my blacks are truly black, oh no, so I've got this particular pattern comes with the white intact, so we really can't use the trick that sometimes I like to use when I just have line work that I'm looking at. So we definitely want to leave this alone at about 50% is where that's the default. Once we've got it where we want it in our grayscale, we're going to go ahead and tap that little adjustment to close out that panel. Now that we have it in black and white, we're going to go over to our wrench, tap add, and tap copy canvas. And then we're going to come over to our brush and we're going to tap that brush. And the first thing I'm going to do is just take the spacing all the way down to none. And then I'm going to pop over to grain. And I'm going to tap edit. It's a little dot right, the little button right there. And then import and paste. Okay, now I want the roses part to be the part that has the color. So I'm going to invert this. This came in the opposite of what I actually need it to be. So I'm just going to use two fingers and tap it. And now it's actually the way I need it to be so that it will lay down the color wherever there is white. And then once I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to go ahead and tap done. Before I leave grain, there's one last thing I want to do. I want to change the offset jitter so that if I pick up my finger and lay it back down again, it will pick up right where I left off. And actually, also before I leave this view, I think I'm going to dial up the scale just a little bit. I'm trying to think of how I might want, what size I might want this if I'm using this in a drawing. Something like that seems pretty good. Okay, so it looks like a mess right now because there's another step that we need to take here, and that's in rendering. So let's go ahead and check out light glaze, and that gives us way more detail, and that's what we want. And so it's hard for me to see what I have at this point. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to properties. Okay, let's bring that minimum size up so I can just really get a good swath there and see what's happening. Okay, I think I want to make this just a little bit bigger. So I'm going back to my grain and I'm just going to bring that scale up just a little bit more, somewhere around there. That might be too big. I'm kind of going back and forth, thinking about the drawing aspect of this whole thing. Okay, that looks pretty good. And when I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to go ahead and tap done. Let's go ahead and test this out. We're going to toggle the visibility off of this, create a new layer on top, and let's see. Let's go with red just so we can see what we're working with here. Okay, and we can play around with the size of the brush tip, but it won't change the scale of the brush. So, ooh. I like that. Wow, that's kind of cool. If you were doing a drawing and let's say you wanted to have, you were in a kitchen and you needed some wallpaper in the background and you wanted something really subtle, but also something old and Victorian looking, this would be the perfect pattern for that. In fact, let's go with yellow here really quickly. I can just imagine this on a wall in a kitchen somewhere. Oh my goodness, that's great. And having it as a texture brush so you can just put it right where you want it and nowhere else is kind of cool. If you'd like to learn more about making brushes and specifically turning a texture brush into a pattern brush, check out this video here. And if you'd like to know more about making tiles, the pattern tiles in general, check out this playlist right here. And meanwhile, I hope your day is amazing.